Hi there, welcome or welcome back, depending on if this is your first time at my channel or your sixth time at my channel, which would be a pretty interesting feat considering I don't think I have 6 videos up yet. Anyways, this video is going to be a little bit different. If you remember from a previous video, I entered into a Forest and Fawn writing challenge that was Romantasy based, and I had a week to write a story based on prompts. And those prompts were a change in plans, a recurring memory, and a character with an uncharacteristic hobby. Now, I'll post the previous video somewhere or in the description below so you could see my process and what I went through. Unfortunately, the story did not make it past the first round, but it got some excellent feedback, and I am pleased with the story overall, and I hope to continue it in a longer form. So without further ado, I'm going to toss it to Lack from the past and have her read Faded in Amber Eyes.
The war between the Orcanes and the Alterarians is over, and I am the consolation prize. The ship rocks on the neutral sea between our territories, though we are far from the only species present. My white gown grounds me, much like the weight of this responsibility, while my entire body begs to flee into the darkness of the forgotten forest. The dress, the ceremony, the groom, all are in the style of the lower Lord Orcane I am to wed. The corset cuts into my side, the sleeves long and bulbous while my shoulders are bare. Ribbons run through my hair as though I am a child, but the only childhood remains in my memory, specifically one memory that follows my every waking moment. My hand moves to the necklace, the boy's necklace, where it rests just above my heart. The sigil beneath tingles, a dull, familiar pain. Wait for me! The voice is from long ago, a whisper from my childhood. I see him again, a boy with amber eyes and a knowing smirk. I have something for you, to remember me by. His fingers warm and steady brushed against my collarbone as he fastened the delicate chain. The moment the pendant touched my skin, a whisper of heat pulsed through me. Then a searing pain, gone too fast to understand. You are mine, he murmured, amber eyes glowing in the fading light. Sarah, it's time. My father extends his hand, his face somber as we march towards the main deck. The crowd murmurs, gossiping about the decor, the ostentatious flowers, my dress. My groom stands ahead, Lord Oxley of Orcane, if I remember correctly. His tusks have been shined and fitted with rings to mark the momentous occasion. But I don't miss him making eyes at his best man, longing piercing his gaze. The man subtly reaches for Lord Oxley, his hand brushing his pinky, his eyes never leaving my marching form. A blush floods my groom's cheeks, his hand jerking away, clearing his throat. His eyes quickly lift to meet mine, though a far departure from the boy with amber eyes, Oxley's eyes dark as night. My hand moves under the necklace from the boy, touching the sigil left by its first contact. It radiates a dull pain, sharpening once in a while, but never enough for me to understand why. My father clears his throat, and I find ourselves at the mouth of the aisle, my groom extending his hand in welcome. At contact, the magic in the necklace sparks, the sigil flaring angrily on my skin. Gasping before I can catch it, my groom has half the decency to appear concerned before mooning over his best man once more. We are gathered here today. I don't hear much else. Oxley recites all the vows while looking at his true love next to him, only his body positioned towards me, acknowledging I am the one in that sacred place. Truly a marriage of convenience and war. The officiant drones on, continuing until he asks for objections. My eyes skate around, looking for familiar amber eyes whose promise echoes in my mind nightly. In a darkened corner, a figure stands, hunched slightly and hiding their eyes, but my body seems to recognize them. Him. It's the boy. But boy no longer. As though he hears my silent pleas, his head lifts, and I immediately see the eyes of Amber. I avert my eyes, lest they be caught wandering against my will, focusing back on the officiant. I object. Did it come from him? My body trembles as Oxley and his father, even the Orcane generals, assume battle stance against whosoever threatens this offering of peace. Who objects? The question from the officiant is simple enough, but everyone holds a collective breath. Alterarians fear their land won't be their own. Orcanes fear of more losses. And the rest of the species present long for peace. The hands of the figure in the corner still, no longer moving hypnotically as they had moments before. Whittling? Rising to his full height, I am met by a darker, broodier man than I remember from the teen with amber eyes who left me. The crowd erupts in a dull roar of chatter, my father and mother fanning themselves as the tall Sith approaches. I am Jintaris, Crown Prince of the Sith. The presence of the Fae species sends ripples of sensationalism through the crowd. And you are forbidden from marrying this human. On what authority? She is mine by war right, Oxley's father demands, though I see Oxley stepping closer to his true love absent-mindedly. By my right as her fated. A hush falls over the crowd, my breath stilling. To claim being fated is the highest claim, trumping all other claims. It calls to the lore of ancient Sith that few believe anymore. The sigil burns, the magic humming through my veins. To be with her is a declaration of war against the Sith. But my prize? Jintaris winks over at me, tossing a white figure. Lord Oxley rolls it in his hands as I recognize the prince has been soap carving in the corner. Here, this is the closest you'll get to touching what's mine. The prince steps up to me, losing myself in his amber eyes, marveling over his features. Soap carving? He shrugs, the smirk I recognize from my memory shining through. It's something to do with my hands. How dare you? Excuse me, my fated. With a kiss of my hand, Jintaris twirls suddenly, revealing a razor-thin blade. The light dances across the steel in invitation of a duel, one which the Orcane generals seem poised to accept. Magic surges through me at the display, displeasure filling me to the brim until it can no longer be contained. Enough! My voice echoes across the swollen waters, a burst of energy pulling from me. From my periphery, my dark hair glows and my eyes narrow on the general offending the man who has claimed me. Light pours from my chest. My body cracks and twists unnaturally as I'm shifting? Let it happen, my love, Jintaris coaches as my chest bows forward, darkness covering my eyes. When the light comes forward once more, I am standing at the end of the aisle, but I am the only one standing. The rest of the attendees are kneeling, prostrate in front of me, while I scan the crowd. A strange weight pulls at my skull, as vines twisting from my bones. Lifting my hand to my head, feeling antlers? I stumble back, my world tilting on its axis. Explain. My voice, though I whisper, seems to boom from my chest. Your Highness, you truly are the fated of the Sid's prince. My mother comes forward. As part Sith, I grew up hearing her Fey lore and tales. Motioning for her to speak, she begins. There is a story long, long ago about the Sid's heart. Eons ago, a prophecy was spoken that the land and people of the Sith will die unless the perfect fated pair can find one another. Sith royalty and a shifter. Murmurs slowly rise before my mother raises her hand, silencing them all. I stand in awe, the plain woman commanding the attention and respect of hundreds of species and beings. You told me this story, Mother. What does it have to do with me? I'm human, right? My mother's hand falls as she steps closer. You have always been more. For eons the Sith searched for such a pair in existence. When you came home with the sigil on your chest, I knew you were one half of the puzzle. My head spins, confusion and anger threatening to spiral out of control, battling for dominance. Jintaris steps closer to me, his hands cupping my face, nuzzling against my forehead. When I found you, a little girl, I knew you were more than a human. Your soul called to mine in a way no other female had. I knew if I presented you with the Sid's heart, I would know. He shifts the necklace where it lays against my chest. This sigil, this is a symbol of the magic flowing between us. I was never far. Every time you felt discomfort, it meant your fated was near. Her eyes dance as she beholds me, my eyes skating over the form of the girl turned woman before me. Her shifted form is beautiful, but something more lies beyond. She effortlessly commands multiple species, demonstrating her power as the Sid's heart. I gaze over her partially shifted form, looking like the goddess I adore. She has magnificent antlers that blossom from her head, though the remainder of her life body appears the same. I wonder, once she unrobes, if there will be hints of the shift. A tufted tail, change in limbs. Maybe none at all, but she is a glory to behold. Taking deep breaths, I distract myself observing those surrounding us. The bubbling Lord Orcane, who was arranged to my fated, is still fumbling with his words, the soap figure of Sarah rolling in his hands. I captured her resplendent appearance effortlessly, a testament to the shrine of carvings I've made from the shadows. Soap dissolves, leaving no trace of shavings after a rain or footfall, making it the perfect medium to study my fated in. His best man wraps an arm around the Lord's shoulders, a gesture that is not lost from the look in his father's eyes. Sarah, my fated, remains still, as though uncertain of what happens next. Her green eyes meet mine, fear alight as she steps into me more. My beautiful fated, it is time for us to continue our journey together. Journey? Confusion replaces the fear, though it still simmers beneath her gaze. I can't stop myself from stepping into her antlers, towering over me with their full height. At close to 7 foot, that is a feat to accomplish. Our quest to bring life back to the Sith. Stumbling back, Sarah sputters and coughs, shock flooding her form. I just was supposed to be married and now I have a quest? What is my life? My fated, we will face it together. The Sith lands are dying. You are the key to restoring them, and the people, to their rightful place in the world. Sarah groans, the sound heralding back to when she was a child. Can't we wait and do this later? You just came back into my life. Unfortunately, we are not the only ones who know about this. Clearly, the witnesses here today have heard the story. but there are darker forces in the forgotten forests that long to take possession and power the Sith's heart holds. Sarah gazes at her hands, still human, her mind likely racing rapidly. The betrayal of her body into this new form, and then to trade the weight of an arranged marriage for that of a harrowing quest, is no small feat. Not stopping myself, I pull her flesh against me, her body melting against mine. I know this is sudden. I know this messed with your best laid plans. But I also know I am with you every step of the journey, every adventure on our quest. You are mine. You always have been. You always will be. You have to at least trust that. Lowering myself to her, I plant my lips against hers, the pillowy softness giving way to welcome me against her. Her arms wrap around my neck, no longer able to stare at the humanness of her hands or marvel at the presence of her antlers. The crowd around us turns, giving us some semblance of privacy, and as we rediscover ourselves in that sacred kiss. Come, my fated, our future awaits.
I hope you enjoyed hearing that story. Again, that was Faded in Amber Eyes, which was written for the Forest and Fawn Romantasy Writing Challenge. Written over a week with 3 prompts, a change in plans, a recurring memory, and a character with an uncharacteristic hobby. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time. Bye now.